Welcome to the Fifth and Goal Sports Podcast. Now, here are your hosts, Aaron, Josh, and Jonny.
Welcome to the show. Listeners, good to have you back. Viewers, good to have you back. More on that in just a second. March Madness is fully underway. There are 16 teams left. A little bit of chaos thrown in there. Josh, how are we doing?
Doing all right. Checked up on my hit rate, so to speak, how many correct picks I had. And guys, 2-minute drill's great radio. I think it's great radio. I'm sitting at 8.6% correct. I do not recommend it. I went too hard into my personal grudges, and I have paid dearly for it. However, I regret nothing.
Good. You're sticking to your principles. You're a man of your word.
Absolutely.
And I appreciate that.
I'd rather be wrong and right morally.
Yeah. Johnny,
Right,
what percentage are
conscience.
we sitting at right now?
Not good. I bet with my heart. I picked with my heart.
That too.
Well, actually, no. It's been a decent.
Pick with their heart.
It's been
bet
a
with your
decent
money.
tournament for that, but not for the bracket itself. I picked with my heart more than my head for sure, especially in the early rounds. But when we get to the Final Four, Elite Eight, I definitely went a little bit more logical, at least in my mind. So those two holding strong, but Florida's the only Elite Eight team I've lost so far. But I did not have them in my Final Four, so I'm okay.
Yeah, that's a big deal. I had them all the way in my championship game. So, you know what? I'm not that sad about it, though, because when Iowa hit that shot, when Fulgaris hit that corner three, not upset. So my week's been good as well. My bracket is hanging on by a thread. I think if Tennessee makes a run to the Elite Eight, maybe, and Arizona wins the whole thing, maybe that gives me an edge in some of the groups I'm in. So my week is good, like really no explanation needed other than just soaking in as much of the college basketball as humanly possible. Before we really dive into what has happened over the last few days, a couple of housekeeping things I want to mention. Mostly how you can watch and or listen to this show, which is sort of an evolving process over the next couple weeks. But right now, if you are like, hey, these guys haven't been streaming on YouTube recently, you would be correct. We're moving some things around on the content side. So right now, and you can find this link in the description of this episode if you're listening to a podcast, or if you're listening on the podcast side of things, you can find a link to our new Fifth and Goal podcast YouTube channel, which we're really excited about. It's where you can find the full recordings of the show. We're going to sprinkle in some things as we have the chance to, like maybe an NFL draft show coming up. But really, it's just a place where it's just the podcast. It's this show. There's not really a whole lot different other than it's just a nice edited video version of the show. So if that's what your preferred method of viewing the show is, then go to it. We literally have not announced it on social media. So I literally built it last night. We have 0 subscribers, which is kind of fun because in a way, like the people on that channel, like we know that you are a very dedicated listener and fan of the show. So that's kind of fun to have that kind of closer knit group. Also, you may or may not be able to be the first subscriber on this channel, depending on when you are listening or watching. So, let us know in the comments of the YouTube channel. Here's your action statement at the beginning of the show, which we never do. Let us know what subscriber number you end up with. If you're in the single digits, hats off to you. So that's happening. Still all the audio happening on all the traditional audio platforms. We may see if Spotify will let us throw a video option up as well, so stay tuned for that. But generally speaking, new episodes every Wednesday, like we try to do our best to produce for you all. Audio, really no change, but the video, if that's kind of your favorite thing to do, is to confirm that we really do have 3 faces for radio. You can watch it on the Fifth and Goal podcast YouTube channel. So that's a little housekeeping from a content side, and we'll announce some of this more on social media and some other platforms as we kind of get rolling with that new channel. But just wanted to let everyone know.
Sorry, you said I had a face for radio, and again, this is great radio. I found that I can zoom in my camera Because sorry, this is great. This is great radio. It's just me zooming in. It's great. We're fine.
Yep, it's good.
We're professionals. Thank you so much for continuing to listen.
Yeah, that's right. So that's the
it could be really dramatic.
And look, apparently I've just been informed that subscriber number 1 has been taken. So jump on it quick.
Whoa.
Jump on it quick. Okay. March Madness. Not a ton of upsets. We kind of thought maybe that would be a thing, right? Like there weren't a lot of upsets last year, a lot of chalk. It was trending towards that direction. But I will say the upsets we did get, that was fun. You had High Point. I think that was the high point of round 1. I'm going to leave. We're never going to make this show again. That was the high point of round 1. High point of round 2, easily Iowa taking down Florida. Josh has got way too much power with this Zoom.
I can gym face all day.
Jonny, what'd you think about either one of those games?
Oh, I mean, I actually don't think either one were like the game of the tournament. I think if you were just asking like, you know, like people are, oh my gosh, like March Madness is dead and there's no like more Cinderella. And listen, I understand like being disappointed not having the random Northeast school, you know, win the first 2 games and being in the Sweet 16. And it is only major conference teams, but the games have for the most part been phenomenal. So that's the one thing, like when people are talking about that, I'm like, listen, it's different right now. And until we can get transfer portal and NIL wrangled in a sustainable manner, you know, there are probably going to be less sustained runs by these Cinderella teams. But you can get out of here with these like unable to do so in these games. Siena's 1 bench player away from pulling off the upset against Duke in the first round. Like VCU does make like a 19-point comeback. And it always stinks when you have other like teams like it's like, oh, Texas and Texas A&M. And it's like, okay, they don't count. Like, I'm sorry, they don't count. But like Kentucky survived. Like as cool as that like half court shot was, that kind of stunk because Santa Clara would have been way more fun. Although that Iowa State defense and TJ Otzelberger, like, oh, my goodness, like that looks like torture to try to break down that defense. Awful. Yeah. Kentucky looked like they wanted that game to desperately be over with 10 minutes left in the second half. Like they're like, no more. Like we're done with this. But like Kansas, like really, really struggled. Could have lost. Virginia easily could have lost. Like, and those are, you know, we're talking about Cal Baptist and Wright State. And so there were opportunities. They just weren't quite able to pull it off. So I don't know, like, I've been a little disappointed that they haven't pulled it off, but I haven't been disappointed by the quality of games. They've been absolutely phenomenal. But Aaron, to your point, I mean, as fun of a team as High Point is, I really loved watching that Iowa-Florida game last night.
Well, and it's interesting. We tell you, the listener, don't worry about ratings because who cares what TV executives are making. I will say, to back up your point,
you're watching
Johnny,
that for TV. Grow up.
Right. To your point, though, Johnny, this is one of the most highly viewed tournaments we've had in a long time. And part of that is some of the matchups like a St. John's versus Kansas that we're getting. And I will say maybe my favorite part of this tournament so far is the fact that you've got a Nebraska who had never won an NCAA tournament game ever, making a Sweet 16. They're playing in Oklahoma City. You would have no idea that they're not actually just playing in Lincoln, Nebraska. Yeah. The environment's nuts. So that's part of it too. St. John's, I think it's their first Sweet 16 since like 1999, something like that. Mm-hmm, and that's obviously, they're right in New York City. So a big fan base Iowa. There. Yeah, right. Iowa, same thing. Oh my gosh, we'll get into the Iowa-Nebraska just war that's about to unfold. But I think that's part of what's driving the, if you just look at pure metrics again, do I really care about that at the end of the day? Not a ton, but that's part of the storyline. You don't have a Siena beating a Duke, unfortunately. But you do have some of those teams that aren't as proven, kind of like what we saw with an Indiana winning the college football national championship, right? Like, probably gone are the days where a Boise State makes some epic run in football, or a VCU. I said it last week, or a VCU makes some run to the Final Four. But what I think this current era of college basketball will do is a team like Nebraska that didn't have any prior success in the NCAA tournament, they can run to the Sweet 16. I mean, who knows where they'll end up, right? I mean, they got to face Iowa now, but they can win that game. I think that's kind of, don't call it a Cinderella because it's not. But I think those are the kind of stories we're going to see from the March Madness tournament, probably moving forward more than we do some epic run by, any of your favorite Cinderellas of the past. I think that's where we're at.
Yeah. And a good point, Aaron. We've seen this. Someone posted a few days ago, Lev Akabis. Thank you, Lev. On one hand, he posted a chart that details every number of the number of upsets versus chalk Sweet 16 teams since looks like 1996 or thereabouts. Now, he says on this chart that the last 3 Sweet 16s have been what we call 1, 2, 3, and 4 seeds, the chalk of chalk, so to speak, more or less. This is the 3rd consecutive year of mostly 1, 2, 3, and 4 seeds advancing to the Sweet 16. We'll talk about the exceptions. He blames the NIL and transfer portal. However, at GFed, go crazy, and he did, makes a very helpful statement here. I'll send you guys the chart. That way you can visualize it. But this is the definition of no correlation charts. It looks like it is extreme upset, extreme chalk, extreme upset, kind of middle of the road, extreme upset, extreme chalk as far as the past 30 odd years of Sweet 16s have been going. And so we have seen a trend with a little bit of chalk as of late, but that is not to say that once everything settles in to a new kind of understanding, again, we talked about this with college football and transfers and NIL and the discussions we've had. I mean, we had this a few weeks ago with the mid-major discussions about Miami being unable to schedule people. We will have more of these discussions coming up. Right now, it's leaning towards chalk. That does not mean that we won't get a really cool Cinderella once things reset.
Sure. And I think one of the other interesting thoughts from the first 2 rounds, Josh, to your point, is you have when a mid-major does win a game. I mean, I can't remember. I need to look up High Point's head coach name because I can't remember off the top of my head. But he gets done with that game. Like, unbelievable moment for him, for his team, for the university. And what is one of the, like, off the top of his head, he's like, hey, schedule us, schedule Miami. Like, there's this whole discussion leading into the tournament of Miami can't find someone to schedule them. High Point's going to struggle with the exact same thing next year. Of course, you've got some one-off coaches like Rick Barnes saying, oh, well, we only schedule teams that are good enough. Well, obviously Miami and High Point are good enough, right? Correct. Like, that's not what we're really talking about here. And it was not a surprise. I mean, it kind of was a surprise that High Point was as good as they were this year. But not because of how they finished last year. It's because of who they lost. But Miami, they were the 2nd team in the MAC last year. It wasn't like some crazy thing that happened. So I don't need to dive into that because we've already had that conversation. But I think when you're talking about mid-majors, like one of the first things out of the mouth of the High Point head coach when they win a game is, hey, look at us. Like Travis Steele after the first 4, he shouts out UNC Wilmington and Belmont, who both got left outside of the field of 68. So there's a lot of campaigning happening in college sports, which is just what happens. But will any of that campaigning help drive it forward? Or, Jonny, to your point, it's all big schools left in the Sweet 16. Is that going to make more of a statement, just the fact that we have these schools in this spot, than anything a mid-major can do or say? I think, think about the long term of this tournament. I think that's probably a question, but a somewhat boring question, maybe, considering some of the games we have coming up. But that's at least where my head is at a little bit today.
Yeah, and just last note on that before we move on to upcoming games too, and we have some incredible Sweet 16 matchups, which is again one of the, Aaron, you mentioned this last week, one of the benefits of. Listen, I want the Cinderella through, so please don't misconstrue this, but we have some heavyweight fights coming up because
absolutely,
of the lack of upsets. And we get them earlier than maybe you might expect, like in the Sweet 16 and Elite 8, because Because we didn't have the Cal Baptist upset, because we didn't have the Siena upset, because we didn't have some of these that allowed those teams to survive and advance. It's just the transfer portal has denied us these senior laden mid-major teams that were primarily the way of picking off these young one and done Kentucky or Duke teams, which is kind of what it typically was. Yeah, I know these guys are phenomenally talented, but they have no experience. Here's a team that's just 4th and 5th year seniors who have been playing together forever, and they're going to take them out. And because you can pick apart these teams to death every single year, you just don't have that anymore. So it's not impossible, but it's a lot more narrow of a path to follow. But we need to talk about some of these incredible finishes. We talked about the games. I mean, what was your guys' favorite finish? I mean, the Nebraska over Vandy with the near half-court heave. Oh. Obviously, Kentucky did get the buzzer after Santa Clara drained a monster 3. They tie it. They end up winning in overtime at the buzzer. And then, of course, St. John's, that buzzer beater as well. We had some great finishes. Did you guys have a favorite?
Yeah, I think the history of not history, but the significance of St. John's being able to go after so long. I think for me, that's the most impactful. Even if it wasn't as visually, I mean, it was, but for me, seeing hey, we're back. That's always a team that I have low-key rooted for, just because they're a team that's consistently pushing for it. They're not quite an underdog these days. But again, especially given all of the dumb discussions we've had about only 7 teams should ever be deemed worthy of fighting for a championship. This discussion we've had in both baseball and football, or not baseball. Sorry, I'm looking at.
We'll get there.
We're getting there. Yeah. Sorry, I'm way too ready for it. The between basketball and football, and just people wanting 6 teams ever being in the running, seeing someone like St. John's just gives me those good feelings again. That everything might be made right.
Yeah, I think my favorite was probably the Iowa finish last night. Recency bias, absolutely. Mm-hmm. But the way that final play was run, that little curl, Bennett Sturts makes a couple dribbles, perfect bounce pass to Fulgaris. And say what you want. It's 2 former conference players of the year now playing in the Big Ten. So, say what you want about all that. But the way that was drawn up, the way a giant was finally killed in March Madness for the first time in a couple of years, really.
Yeah.
It follows a trend of, returning champions not faring very well in the NCAA tournament. I think the stat is 7 of the last 8 have not made it past the opening weekend, which is crazy.
Just UConn.
Yeah, you're right on their repeat. So, I think that may have been my favorite, a little bit of, here's also my struggle too. Cause I'm Big Ten. And I'm sitting here, again, 2 former conference players of the year that were at smaller schools, moved up. There's nothing wrong with that. Good for them. But I'm sitting there rooting for the Big Ten, who has 6 or 7 teams in the Sweet 16. A couple of them are playing each other, obviously, in next weekend. And I'm I want to root for the Big Ten because that's what I was, that's what was instilled at me at a very young age. Ohio State's in the Big Ten. We're in the Midwest. This is the teams you root for. This is the teams you're probably watching more anyways. And we're sitting here in the current climate of college basketball, and I'm watching this. I'm yeah, go Big Ten. I'm thinking to myself, am I basically just rooting for the Empire in Star Wars? Is that what I'm doing?
Are we the baddies?
Yes. Because I think...
Are we the bad guys?
We're the football and basketball conference now. It's true. When a middling Iowa, who finished behind Ohio State, which the Big Ten, I believe, lost their first 2 games, or 2 of the first 3, and rattled off 13 wins in a row after that.
That's crazy.
And then finally, UCLA lost to UConn without their top scorer. Yeah. I mean, and if you watch that game, you could easily say UCLA might have won that game, with their top scorer. And so it's been a phenomenal tournament for the Big Ten. It's been something that they've waited on for a long time. Like, we're far more used to talking about, oh my gosh, the Big Ten fell apart again. Like, they're usually the teams that get plucked in that first weekend. And instead, and surprisingly so since realignment, really, the ACC, once again, really, really struggling is the ACC. SEC's been fine. I think they have 4 or 5 teams going themselves. So, Aaron, to answer your question, yes, along with the SEC. Yes.
Yeah, and I think the only difference is it's been so long since the Big Ten's actually won it that I don't feel quite as bad. And look, if I'm making this analogy, there are parts where Darth Vader comes out and just does some really sweet stuff. You're like, oh, that's terrible, but that's pretty cool. Like maybe we're in that section of Big Ten basketball, but I think if this continues for a couple years, I think I'll be like, yeah, Big Ten, and everyone's gonna be like, shut up. We don't want to hear it, and that's fair.
The tournament's too random, though, to have a run like the SEC just had in football, before the Big Ten ended it. Mm-hmm. It's too random on a one-off game tournament. You're always going to have room for UConn and St. John's and a Florida-style team, and heck, the Big 12 I still think is the best basketball conference. Like, I don't care. Like, JT Toppin didn't play for Texas Tech. Now, that one man does not help the whole team in their amnesia of how to rebound. That happened last night. I mean, thank you for that at least being the late game so I could go to bed.
Yeah, I didn't finish it.
But and BYU lost Richie Saunders, which critical. And that's part of this too. Name the key injury for any of these Big Ten teams that's really occurred. I know Michigan lost their backup point guard, but it's a backup point guard. Like, I just mentioned 2 crucial, if not the best players on their team at 2 of the big contenders in the Big 12 this year. And Kansas is just in a weird spot right now. We'll have to see what happens with them. But the Big 12 still has contending teams. Houston's not going anywhere anytime soon. So basketball won't be ever dominated, in my opinion, by 1 or even 2 conferences. It's too spread out. It's a little too random. But yes, I do think we're kind of the bad guys because, it's the SEC and the Big Ten. And the truth of the matter is the Big Ten has deeper pockets than the SEC when it comes to most of that. So the weirdest thing is Nebraska and Indiana switching places. That's just strange.
Yeah, it is very strange. Now that we have the benefit of 48 games, 52 if we're including the first 4, under our belt, is there anything in your bracket right now, and Josh, for you, maybe the answer is everything, that you would change if you could with the benefit of...
going forward or back?
Yeah, going forward. Yeah, going forward. Yeah, if going back, tough, right?
A million things.
Yeah, right. But going forward, is there anything you're like, listen, that team...
I got St. John's right.
Yeah.
Why did I put Nebraska in? All right, I got Nebraska in. Nice. Yeah. I'm good. I'm good for now. Fine. I would have picked fewer upsets. I always pick with my heart. And I always pick on how much I don't like a team. And I should pick with slightly less bitterness. Not no bitterness. Little.
Yeah.
Like less.
Aaron, I think the team that I'm not saying like I now think they're going to win the national championship, but I thought very highly of them coming in. But the free throw struggle issues really just scared me. And I said it to you before the tournament, and they're brilliant at everything else. They can shoot the 3. They have solid point guards. They play outstanding defense. And I already mentioned them, and that's Iowa State and TJ Otzelberger. I mean, that man knows how to coach defense. Kentucky was just being tortured. Yeah. Like, couldn't even inbound the ball. It was, they mentally broke the Wildcats. And that was just wild to watch. And I know Kentucky's been inconsistent, but to do that to a team in an elimination game in the second round was just so impressive. And to do that without Joshua Jefferson, who got hurt in the first game, like very early.
Yeah.
And in that game, they actually ascended in that game. And I know it's against Tennessee State, but they ascended after the injury, didn't get down at all. And so I've been remarkably impressed with Iowa State. And I think Tennessee's in big trouble in the Sweet 16. Like, I think we're in store for a lot of really good games. But Tennessee showed that they have no clue how to close out a game really throughout the regular season. If the first time you watched Tennessee was against, Virginia, then you're like, man, these guys can't even inbound a ball. What's wrong with them? They can't break a press whatsoever. Guys, that's how they lost to Kentucky this year. That's how they lost many of these other games where they had large leads and choked down the stretch. Iowa State won't let them get away with that. They're too precise. The press will break them. They're going to turn it over a lot. I don't trust the guard play of Tennessee. I think that's the one game that could get away from us as far as the margin in the Sweet 16. So I've just been incredibly impressed by the Cyclones. I think they're cheering for an Arkansas team to get through and beat Arizona in that region, because if anybody can stop Acuff and the Razorbacks, it would be that Iowa State defense. And they don't present as many size issues as Arizona would in that situation.
Yeah, you just said it. Acuff and Arkansas, that's the team I'm keeping my eye on, because if you believe in the theory that your top guard will drive potential deep run, into the Final Four, whatever, well, there's no one playing much better than Darius Acuff right now. You've obviously got John Calipari, who's, had his fair share of failures in the NCAA tournament, but he's also won a national championship as well. So, do with that information what you will. That's the team to me, even from someone who picked Arizona to win the whole thing, which I think I still stand by. But I think that's going to be a major, major clash. And yeah, we'll get into that here in just a moment. So those are our brief first and second round thoughts. Stay tuned next week. We'll break down the Sweet 16, the Elite Eight. Let us know your thoughts. Hit us up on your favorite social media platform. And Josh's graphic that he was talking about on Twitter, that has been reposted on the Fifth and Goal Sports Twitter account. So you can go check that out to hear what we're referencing there. Before we get into picks, there's also another sporting event happening this week, and it's called the Start of Baseball. So here's my quick 2 to 3 minute spiel on what you could expect in the 2026 season, or maybe just some of the storylines that we're expecting coming up. Unfortunately, we are in yet another situation where baseball is starting just a couple days away. And one of the big questions going into the season is, are we going to be playing baseball in 2027? And you might be thinking to yourself, well, Aaron, this is 2026. We haven't even started the season yet. I know. But here's the thing. There's a lot of decisions that need to be made heading into the 2027 season. The biggest one is that the owners want a salary cap and the players do not. It makes sense if you're a player. You, by definition, do not want your salary to be capped, and that's what a salary cap does. If you're the owners, you're seeing what a team like the Dodgers have done with all of their resources and their ability and smarts to work the system in their favor, and now they've won 2 titles in a row. There's other things, to be considered there, but basically we're at an impasse already. So what are our chances of playing in 2027? Depending on who you talk to, not very likely. So I'm not trying to put a sour on the season. Yeah, Jonny says very small. I think there's one thing, and I think there's one player that can save us from a lockout in 2027. Not because he's necessarily going to be in the meeting rooms with players and owners and all that. It's actually what he's going to do on the field this year. And that's why I bring it up. I know we're talking 2027. We're starting the 26th season. That's why I bring it up, because it has to happen this year. And that man is Shohei Ohtani. What do I mean? If Ohtani has another MVP season where he's pitching, he's hitting, all kinds of highlights, the Dodgers are good again. If you are the owners, I know that you want a salary cap. And I'm actually sort of on your side at this point, which is not something I would have said a couple years ago. If you're the owners, though, do you look at a player like Shohei Ohtani, who is in the conversation as maybe one of the best, not even maybe, as one of the best to ever play the game in his prime, in his early 30s? Are you going to say, yeah, we're not going to be able to agree. We're just not going to have a season in 27. I don't know. I don't think the owners think that way, so I'm not sure that's going to help, but it's just something to consider. Would missing out on an Ohtani season in 27 be enough for the owners and Rob Manfred, as much as I dislike him, to sit back and say, hey, maybe we can start putting the groundwork for a salary cap in, but let's not make this a thing where we miss an entire season. It's wishful thinking, maybe, but that's where I'm at in terms of this whole lockout conversation. All right, so let's get into the 26th season. The Dodgers obviously have won the last 2 World Series titles. They're going for a three-peat. They obviously have the talent. That's not even a question. They're loaded. Their farm system is still good, which is nuts that's true. So they're obviously the team to beat. Some other teams to watch. I'll start in the American League. I think the Mariners are going to have a great year. They added Brandon Crawford in the offseason, shortstop, who can hit the ball pretty well. They obviously were not that far away from the World Series last year. The Blue Jays are going to be in the mix. Kind of the usual teams, the Yankees, I think. I'm a little less certain on the Yankees. They need to not be injured, and the Yankees, by definition, are just injured all the time.
That's one of their favorite activities.
Yeah. Red Sox didn't probably do as much in the offseason as they would have wanted to.
Orioles are back.
Yeah. So that's your American League look. I think the Tigers will be right there too. They added Framber Valdez in the offseason. Really, really strong rotation as long as they can get enough hitting and not, choke a 16 game.
I was going to say, you know how this works. Somehow Cleveland's going to take that Central Division again.
You know what? I wouldn't put it past them.
Parts and glass and random screws and nails. They will win that Central.
Yeah, we'll see. NL, National League. Who can challenge the Dodgers? I guess on paper, I'll say the Mets. I mean, they completely choked again, but you have Juan Soto. I mean, you have all the pieces there. I know you lose Pete Alonso to the Orioles. That's a sneaky team to watch this year's the Orioles. But the Mets are there on paper. The Brewers are there, not on paper, but because they just find a way to win a ton of games every single year. They were the top record team in baseball. You would look at their roster and say, oh, they just got rid of their top pitcher again. They're not going to win 100 games.
They always do.
They always do. So they're going to be good. My team to watch out for, though, in that division, unfortunately, is the Chicago Cubs. I think they are poised to have a great year as long as the pitching comes together. But they added Alex Bregman. You need a little bit of a resurgence from PCA. Not a good second half for him. But as long as they can put some of the pieces together there in Wrigley, I think they're set for a really, really strong year. I'll talk about the Reds real quick because I know a lot of fans of this show are also fans of the Reds, regrettably.
Do we have to?
How sad are we going to be?
I entered the year cautiously optimistic, and I think out of spring training, I am just cautious. The optimism is starting to wane already. And they haven't done anything wrong necessarily. They added Gino Suarez, who just won a World Baseball Classic title. But where your strength was as the Reds last year was, number one, the Mets falling apart, in fairness, but number two, the actual strength was your starting rotation. Well, no Hunter Green until at least July. In his last start in spring training, Nick Lodolo out with blisters, which has been a problem for him, and that's kind of a red flag for a pitcher, especially in March. And Andrew Abbott was awesome last year, all-star level. His spring training, no bueno. And you can tell me, okay, it's spring training, who cares? And normally I'd be with you on that. But those same people that are saying, oh, it's spring training, who cares, are also the same people saying, oh, Matt McClain had the best spring training of any Major League Baseball player. He's ready for a breakout year. I don't know if both of those things can be true. Does spring training matter or does it not? I know it's hitter versus pitcher, but okay, maybe choose a side there. So there's going to be a lot of work for them to do because, again, I love the Reds, but I'm going to be the first to admit that they backed themselves into a playoff spot. Like the Mets had to open the door and the Reds fell into it on accident.
Who would say that they earned it? Aaron, do they win 80 games? 80.
Yeah.
Okay.
I honestly think they may have a similar record to last year, but you need to have a better record than last year.
Oh, yeah.
Especially if the Cubs are as good as I think they're going to be, if the Brewers do their usual thing.
We're going to be the same. Yeah. Like that's when, Josh, you asked, you're like, how sad? I'm like, the same amount. Where it's just like
median
we
sadness.
Never and I think if you remember me in like August, I think I was yelling and screaming, why can't you just be worse so I can stop paying attention to you? They're just always hanging on by a thread. And fortunately, it was a very thick thread because the Mets are terrible.
Yeah, no kidding.
And nobody else was there to take it. So the Reds were just like, oh, look, a playoff spot.
Yeah.
Look what we found at the side of the road that our neighbors threw out. to be picked up by the garbage truck tomorrow. That's a good reminder for me.
Yeah. I will say, if you are someone that is optimistic about the Reds, here is the optimistic path and not the realistic one, in my opinion. The optimistic path is, wow, made it to the playoffs, got beat by the eventual world champions, great learning experience. You have Sal Stewart, you have Matt McLean, you have Ellie, you have a lot of young talent, some of which Chase Burns on the pitching staff. You have a lot of young talent that if Terry Francona and the coaching staff can really get them to elevate, all of a sudden they do pop, and they're not just the same old team that we've been talking about year after year after year. I don't personally think that that's super realistic, but that's, at least if you are an optimist of the Reds, that's kind of the direction you're looking. So that's Major League Baseball. Jonny, real quick, can we talk about this Tottenham relegation zone?
Yes, it's amazing.
Let's go.
I mean, so I'm going to be annoying about this going into the beginning of May, guys. Sorry at this point. So we're on an international break. So if you're hoping for an update, like anytime soon post this podcast, you're not going to get one. Team USA is playing international friendlies right now since they don't have qualifying. Since they're a host for the World Cup, we're going to have those intercontinental games deciding those last spots in the World Cup as well. So, teams are sending their players away for international break across the world. And to that point, the Crew haven't won a game in the first 5, which is quite sad. And they keep surrendering goals in games late. That's another topic for another day.
But hire Wilfred Nancy back.
Yeah, I know, right? He's available. Just bring him back. It's a personnel issue, too, on the backside. Really missing Darlington Nagbe in the middle of the park, too. But Tottenham, so crucial game. They lost, in the round of 16 in Champions League. So they're not in any other competitions. You're thinking, okay, they're going to focus here on the relegation battle. And they draw Liverpool, and you're thinking, okay, they stop the bleeding. They're going to figure this out. They're playing Nottingham Forest, who they're fighting with for relegation, one of the teams there. And Forest just obliterates them 3-0 to leap them in the table. So now Forest is on 32 points. And at 30 is Tottenham. Tottenham, fortunate that West Ham lost their game as well. So that last relegation spot, remember, we're Burnley, Wolves, adrift. They're out of this. So it's really that last spot. And so right now, Tottenham is 1 point out of the relegation zone with 7 games to go left in the season. So plenty of time for West Ham to get above them. 1 point is nothing. And Forest, just having that head-to-head was such a massive game. So for Tottenham to just completely fall flat in that game, big story. Tottenham, by the way, I don't know if I mentioned last time, they fired their coach. This is the new coach. He has not won a game. I think it's 5 matches in the Premier League. Man. So people are like, do we fire the coach we just hired to hire somebody else? International soccer is a lot closer to hockey for domestic fans. If you're how does that work coaching wise? It's a lot more fluid in season hiring and firing compared to football or basketball is. So it is wild right now. I can't wait for the international break to be over so that we can continue to follow this. And as an Arsenal fan, I'm just living, laughing, and loving it.
Yeah. That's good. Well, hopefully the Crew win before Tottenham does. That may be the real race to watch. Which team wins first? All right, let's make some picks.
Sometimes the guys make picks based on their vast knowledge of sports. Sometimes they make picks based on vibes.
I'm going to go ahead and say that Maryland takes down Florida.
Chop this one up for the Gators. Chop a national championship for Florida.
Either way, they're probably going to be wrong. It's time for Picks of the Week.
Well, I was just 1 year away from my Big Ten team upsetting Florida, apparently. This week, To recap where we are in our current scoreboard of picks of the week with a prize that somehow is still to be determined. Jonny, you've got 9 points. Josh, you've got 9. I've got 8. I'm right behind you guys because I did correctly pick High Point over Wisconsin, both in picks of the week and my bracket, I'd like to add. So, blind squirrel. World Baseball Classic champion was Venezuela, as I mentioned earlier, which good for them. None of us had that. We had the U.S., but not Venezuela, so good for them. With Gino Suarez and Ronald Acuna and all them, that's kind of a cool moment for that country for sure. This week, we all have Arizona still, and Arizona's still in it. Woo. So we'll see how that goes. We're going to pick some baseball because we just talked about it. Opening day this week on Thursday. Now, technically, we have a Wednesday night game on Netflix between the New York Giants. Yeah, like 100 years ago. New York Yankees and the San Francisco Giants. That's happening Wednesday night.
Cross-sport connections like that. I want Eli Manning out there. If he can throw a football, he can throw a baseball. I know he hasn't played in a while. That's what's going to make it fun.
Yeah. I mean, the Colorado Rockies would probably take him right now.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
They'd probably take Tom Brady.
Yeah, they would just like me to come to town. So, well, they win when I show up.
That too. So we're going to pick that game between Yankees at Giants. It's an 8:10 first pitch on Netflix. So we've got all sorts of new TV deals happening with Major League Baseball. And by new, I mean some don't have deals at all. So Major League Baseball is just taking over. It's a whole thing. We won't get into it this week, maybe a future week. So I'm going to pick the Yankees. I don't feel super great about it, but I need to be different. I'm trying to catch up here. We're running out of episodes. I think the Yankees take game 1 on the road. They'll likely face Logan Webb, who is an excellent ground ball pitcher. The problem is that Logan Webb will have maybe some combination of Rafael Devers and Luis Arraez in the infield, and those are both not great defenders. So I'm a little worried about the Giants in that regard. So for that, I'll say, sure, the Yankees get game 1 here, and they kick off the baseball season.
I am picking the Giants because they are the closer team. We only have 2 teams in this game. To the Netflix headquarters in Los Gatos, California. I believe that they're going to do some sort of insider trading thing. Yes. Is it boring to say that home teams win? Yes. I know that statistically it's safer to pick the home team. Also, I am going to pick them because they are close-ish to the Netflix headquarters, and they're going to want to make sure that this is a good game for ratings. So it's going to be close. I'm not saying that it's going to be because it's a blowout's a boring game. It's going to be also the highest scoring game in MLB opening day history.
Wow.
That one's for free.
Wow.
Josh, does a ball
I'm
get
look up
into
how many
the
runs
bay?
that is.
Does a home run ball get into the bay?
It's going to be a lot easier to say which balls don't get hit into the bay.
Not in March, it's not. At 8:00 at night, there's no shot.
Listen, I'm not going to be ashamed of how bold I am anymore, as opposed to the other times when I have been ashamed, apparently.
Well, contrary to usual, I'm not fighting Josh on this, and I absolutely agree that the Giants will win, partially because I don't think the Yankees are going to have a very good season, but it's also a long season, and it's a cross-country flight. I know it's the opening day, so it's different than a normal travel schedule, but still go with the Giants.
Okay. I looked it up. Google AI is telling me that the most runs scored by one team, and this coincides with the most combined runs, is Cleveland, 21-14 over the St. Louis Browns.
It's amazing.
On April 14th, 1925, so almost the 100-year anniversary. We'll celebrate maybe the 101st anniversary of 35 Josh, runs being scored.
You think
that's all you got to get, Josh.
36 runs.
Yeah.
With one of the better pitchers in the game, Logan Webb, on the... No worries. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Listen, it's a story, and like I said, it's for free. I do think I get to automatically win the season if I'm right. However...
I agree.
The guys spent hours scrolling social media, and they found some pretty dumb stuff. Now they want to talk to you about it.
Do they need a guy on weekends to like walk around random McDonald's and like dressed as a Grimacy? Because I'll take that.
Are you okay saying bad things about the British?
Good luck. It's time for What We're Following.
Is there a market for an O'Crimacy, but he just goes to Tottenham home games and insults them?
There's a market of at least 3 people I can think of, Josh.
Yeah.
Perfect.
It's at least 3 people.
I'm sorry, they have a tutor running the thing. It writes itself.
Yeah.
It writes itself.
Yeah. Guys, I can start with what I'm following because it's kind of lame and it's kind of a complaint, but it's also a complaint that kind of the whole internet has shared over the last few days. So, per NCAA policy, they meaning teams like admins, social media, you name it, are not allowed to post more than a minute of content from the game, like the actual game action, on Instagram or Facebook or any of the places it makes sense to be, TikTok, YouTube, because they have the rights. So NCAA teams, you'll see, have not been posting many March Madness highlights because they're using GIFs, they're using photos, screenshots because of licensing rules. I'm sorry, what year is it? And Olympics, I'm looking at you too, because we just had the Olympics and they're even worse. Like, trust me, this is not an exaggeration. Our TikTok account nearly got taken out by the Olympics 2 years ago. Like, what year is it? I don't understand. Do you think that someone watching this game is going to be like, oh, I'm watching Nebraska and Vanderbilt. You know what? I'm going to turn off this game so I can look at Nebraska's Instagram stories and just watch the highlights there. What are we talking about? And I know there's contracts written. I understand there's licensing things. Who cares? Like, it's bad on you, NCAA, to sign that in the beginning. Or if you're Turner Sports at this point, say, hey, I know this may be in our contract, but this is dumb. Why shouldn't the teams who are eventually going to make money from this, who are drawing interest, why should they not have the awesome cinematic recaps that we see on YouTube for nearly all these regular season games? Like, so many talented creators and producers and all this stuff. Like, why are we tying our own hands behind our back when we're trying to promote these kind of sports? And the Olympics is a perfect example too, because you've got, sports like, in the Winter Olympics, like curling and all these different things that probably aren't really paid attention to on a grand scale as much as, your hockeys or your basketballs or your footballs. Why are we making it more difficult to promote these sports? I have no idea. Everyone in unison on Twitter, which you know how rarely that happens, is out there saying, hey, this is dumb. Can we get this fixed? So that is what this 2-minute rant is all about. NCAA, per usual, get your act together.
Aaron, it's similar to when they used to black out games in the home markets.
Oh, boy.
So that you would have to go to the game and buy tickets because they were afraid that everybody would just watch on TV and nobody would ever go to the games. It feels very similar.
Including the stadiums themselves.
Yeah, you are correct.
Thank you, White Sox.
Yep.
And that's not their fault. Thank you, Bally.
It is their fault, though, as well.
Of course it happens to them. Of course it happens to them. Like, it would happen to them.
Yeah, you can't watch your own games, might get shot. The random little things.
The best thing, and the only thing that could have possibly have started any sort of restoration of the White Sox was a fan of theirs becoming the Pope. Like, that is genuinely, this is their only track for redemption, so to speak.
Yeah, right.
You know what you can't get redemption from? 128 ounces of nachos. Guys, it is baseball o'clock.
What's the redemption needed, Josh? That sounds like you won on the front end.
I don't. Hey, Johnny,
redemption comes for you in the end of that,
sorry, Johnny.
On the
you
back
gave
end,
me an opening there. Yeah, the back end.
Required.
There's a need for prayer on the back end.
Yeah.
All right. Did you want me to do that, Johnny? You set me up for that alley-oop.
I did.
It's called the Snake Bite Nacho Helmet. Thank you, Chase Field. Thank you, Arizona Diamondbacks. Guys, it's baseball o'clock, which means every team who wants to be known as a cool team with a cool ballpark is releasing new foods. Now they're doing this in bits and pieces. I have a list of some of the really fun ones. I also have specifically the Reds press release, because the Reds actually released their own little new group of foods. So we have
I'm very excited
Stadium
about
Burnt
that.
Ends, If you're going to be sad at Great American Ballpark, you can at least have Bar S Southwest style sausage, fried with a sweet barbecue rub. That sounds good. Tofuego tacos. Tofu with chipotle peppers and onions, cojita cheese, jalapeno aioli. I'll give that a shot.
Yeah.
I'll give that a shot. Look, they got beer now. Not new, but different beers. Different beers. Cinnamon sugar donuts.
That's the one, Josh.
Oh, I'm ready.
I literally got my Reds tickets yesterday. That's the one that it's because it's in a helmet, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, that's so good. Guys, I'm excited. Okay, so we'll go back to Arizona Diamondbacks because they got two things that they're trying to play both sides, and I know what they're doing, and it's stupid, but I get it. So 128-ounce bucket of nachos, the snakebite nacho helmet. It doesn't look like a helmet, guys. It looks like a bucket because it has a handle. I don't know the last time I saw a hat with a handle. That's a bucket. It's a commonly, I keep saying 128 ounces. I'm going to pull out my Leslie Knope and call that most commonly known as a gallon.
I thought you were about to say child size.
No, that's fine. That's the 512 ounce.
Oh, okay. Got it.
Topped with barbacoa, carnitas, fajita veggies. It's supposed to be shareable. Yeah.
Nonsense.
Yeah. Thanks. Yeah. I'm going to Chase Field and ordering a bucket of nachos to share. Get your own. Get your own. But here's the thing. If you're like, that's a lot of calories. First off, shut up. Second off, fine. They have the Healthy People Like Baseball 2 parfait. It's a cup of cottage cheese. With carrot sticks, celery, salted almonds, and pretzels.
That sounds great on a 90-degree day in July.
Hey, I'm gonna have I'll have to have a gallon of nachos for myself. And for my significant other, they will take a 16 ounces of cottage cheese with a bunch of carrots and celery and pepper shoved into it.
I thought this was going to be the good version of parfait, Josh. You know, where it's like mashed potatoes, brisket, mashed potato, then like mac and
more
cheese,
mashed potatoes,
pulled pork, like the crazy parfait that you can get out of like a food truck. That's what I was hoping you were going to say.
Oh, absolutely. That's a lot. That is parfait. They're trying to, I'm not even going to dignify it. We're done. We're moving on to the next thing. The Mets are doing, if you want to, oh, never mind. I'm sending the Mets to jail.
Oh,
I was going to give them a prop. We all know about the 999 challenge. That's 9 beers, 9 hot dogs, 9 innings. You just do one an inning. Or is it 9 per? Real simple. Or if you want to do 9 per, don't.
Nope.
That's a lot. Please don't. Citi Field has given you guys, not Citi Field.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, Citi Field. I got it. Yep. I don't know what I was thinking about. 999 challenge. You can just get one. They have a 999 box you can get. Here's the thing. It's mini hot dogs. So I'm sending them straight to jail.
Oh, yeah.
You got to get the full hot dog. It doesn't count.
Yeah.
It looks like normal sized beers, but it's like an above shot, what they posted on their Twitter page. So I'm not going to give them a no. Phillies are doing the Schwarbomb Sundae. Vanilla ice cream topped with a funnel cake fried strawberry Uncrustable, strawberry sauce, and fruity pebbles.
Oh.
Who was the player who was uncrusting his Uncrustable? We forgot to out him on this podcast. Wasn't it like a Syracuse basketball
his
player?
Uncrustable?
Oh,
Do
yeah.
you mean to say recrusting his?
No. He's still peeling. Like it has a crust.
Oh.
Like, and it doesn't. And I feel like somebody needed to inform the young man.
Seal. It has to. What do you want?
Somebody needed to inform the young man that Sir, that's already been done for you. I believe it was a Syracuse basketball player. Sorry, Josh, I didn't mean to derail.
No, you're good.
We really should have outed that guy earlier. And this happened at least a month ago.
Whoever you are, you know who you are, straight to jail.
Yeah, it's bad.
2 more. This one I think is good. I just need you guys to be with me on this, just to confirm. Chicago Cubs. Chicken and churros.
Oh, I saw this, and I'm a yes.
For some reason, visually, I'm not behind it.
No, they didn't present it well, but
the presentation is bad.
Awesome.
But guys, it's chicken and waffles, but better because it's churros, and I can't imagine a better situation, honestly.
Yeah, how could it be bad?
Like, again, how could it possibly be bad?
How could it possibly be bad?
And finally, oh, by the way, Diamondbacks, again, have a take me out to the ball game shake, because shakes are now all the... No, I'm not giving them that.
I'll always take a milkshake.
I always take the milkshake. But again, it's like 16 ounces of melted ice cream.
Great.
Yeah.
What's wrong with that?
I don't know. Just in Arizona, again, same rule as the cottage cheese, where I'm like,
but
I just don't know. There's something about it.
Bad. It just melts. Drink it.
I'll give it to you. I'm still... Hey, guys, Miami Marlins. Let's finish with them. Guys, they're the Miami Marlins machete. 3 M's. Thank you, guys. The machete. What is that? It's a 2-foot long tortilla. Comes in a carrying case.
What?
Yep.
Do you get to keep the carrying case?
I think so, because you have to... This is how you take it back to your seats. And again, this is probably one of those quote-unquote shareables. It's a 2-foot long tortilla that is stuffed or filled with carne asada, guajillo pepper sauce, salsa verde, mozzarella, and Oaxaca cheese, and some cilantro. Looks like it's served with the salsa verde on the side. It looks fantastic, but it is 85 million calories, it looks like. Oh man, I want that so bad. Sending that to you guys as well. Also, props to MLB. I'm getting a lot of these. I have a few other articles, but a lot of them, the MLB has been good to put these on their own Twitter page.
They know what we want.
They know what we want. And it's pictures of food that I will never eat because I can't do a every ballpark in a year challenge.
And $50.
Oh, I think I can, Josh. We just need people to subscribe to the podcast channel.
If you subscribe, we will. Yep. We will 100%.
Yeah, Josh will eat
5
the
likes on this
cheese.
video and Josh travels the world.
No, I said it was bad,
Josh
Johnny.
Is
I said it was bad.
Cheese as punishment for eating salad for dessert and all those years in college.
That was a decade ago. All right,
you'll have to do that. I haven't let it go. Sorry. Moving on. I hope you missed this story.
Bye, guys.
I hope you missed this story over the weekend, this sports story, because I hope you're watching basketball. Because if you did watch this instead of March Madness, you are sick. And normally I mean that as positive.
The Harlem Globetrotters in Madison, Wisconsin.
Like, you're a sicko. You're one of us. We love that. In this situation, you're actually sick because you like football too much and you need to let it go a little bit. Because if you watch flag football instead of March Madness, that is so wrong on so many levels. But anyway, there's that little dispute before, like, oh, the NFL players, they'll destroy the flag football players. And the flag football captain was like, hey, like, I don't think so. And everyone's like, what? How could he say that? And all he basically says was, I don't think so. I think we should get a chance. And you shouldn't just assume that the football team, like NFL players, are better than us. Turns out totally right. Because they won against Tom Brady's team 43-16 and then Joe Burrow's team 39-16. So, guys, who would have thought? It's a different game. It's a very, very different game because it's flag football. So, I mean, I love that for the flag football guys. Like, these guys have like 9-to-5 jobs probably. Like, this is just what they do. Like, they don't get paid really, I'm sure, to play flag football. So I'm thrilled for them. Like, they got to dismantle some NFL players. Oof. And I hope that means for the summer games in 2 years that, they are going to get their chance to play for Team USA and should be the presumptive favorites to play for Team USA over NFL guys who are just, trying to do it in their free time.
I mean, whatever it takes for us to get a gold medal, which I don't
Best
think
players,
is Tom
man.
Brady being 46 years old and playing quarterback. I don't think that's part of the. No offense to him, like I'm sure he can still.
No, that's okay. Offense.
Yeah. Somehow Logan Paul was somehow involved in this, and I would like to.
I only saw clips of him like arguing, like beefing with Tom Brady, and I went,
shame, man. Our state
Just
shame.
stay in Puerto Rico, my guy.
Different one, but also same.
Wait, what?
Well,
Both
is Logan
of them.
also in Puerto Rico?
No,
Oh, they are
I
both.
mean
Okay,
both
never
of
mind.
them
I'm
anyway.
stupid.
Yeah,
I don't like any of them.
get rid of both of them.
Yeah, like why are they?
Stop being from Cleveland.
Puerto Rico doesn't even deserve to have to deal with them.
No, they
I
don't.
know
No,
where
they
to
don't. It's
send
beautiful.
them.
Speaking of Cleveland,
Jail.
apparently Travis Kelce signed a 3-year deal, which makes no sense. Did
I thought
see
it was
that
a
right?
1-year deal.
Oh, well,
Hold on.
I'm looking it up.
I was only paying
told
attention
3.
to how it was like 75 degrees in all of Ohio except for Cleveland yesterday, where it was in fact 40.
And it's 40 now. And my head hates it.
It's a technicality for cap purposes or per buy. So you're right. It is basically a 1-year deal. Thank you, Johnny.
Okay. They're trying to spread the money out. I understand.
Yeah. But you're right. Technically, it is a 3-year, $54 million deal. I don't know how that's not I don't know. I'll look this up later. This is not what I'm following. Maybe it will be next week as we get closer to the NFL draft. Listeners, viewers, thank you for being here. We appreciate it.
Hey, listeners, viewers, so sorry. I have one final thing.
Do it.
3 hours ago, Boston just announced their 2026 Stadium Eats. It's standard thing, surf and turf dog. It's a hot dog with lobster on it because, yes, it's Boston. Mini empanadas. Lobster, STAH, poutine. You can get some lobster poutine, and it comes in a special boat, and it says lobster poutine on it. It's got fries, Luke's
Sounds like
lobster
a fun
meat, as you
boat.
would expect, bacon, and clam chowder.
Nope. You ruined it.
You were so close, Boston.
It's doing well.
I'm actually kind of still down. Is that bad?
Yeah.
You got to eat it.
The July sun? No.
Eh.
No.
I don't
That's fair.
like. I get everything there, and I know you need some sort of gravy type thing,
No, you don't.
but I don't know why you've decided. But again, I'll show you guys. I'll send this to you guys as well. I can't. I don't know. The liquid on top looks to be the viscosity of like a cheese sauce, and I've not had a chowder in a while, but I do know that chowder is not as thick as cheese. So this is either a clam chowder reduction, which is one of the worst things I've had to say.
That
New
is
band
pretty
name, I call it.
awful.
I don't like this.
Yeah, that's a great band name.
Clam chowder reduction goes crazy. I don't know.
Clam
I don't
chowder.
know what genre that
Hey
is.
guys, we're clam chowder reduction.
Whoa!
When in doubt, it's jazz fusion.
I agree.
Mm.
Uh,
Don't eat that. Action statement.
yeah, action statement. Do not. Yeah.
Actually, stay away from Boston for a little bit.
Yeah. Josh, I'm excited for all of those foods. Again, like and subscribe on the new Fifth and Goal podcast channel so you can pay us so we can go to all these places and eat food. Or we'll just send out people that we know that live close to those areas. So anyways, listeners, viewers, thank you for being here. Thank you for catching this episode. We will see you all next week with more March Madness, more baseball, more NFL draft. We're getting into the swing of things as far as that goes. So maybe we'll even drop a mock draft on you next week. So all that and more. Thanks for being here. We'll catch you next time.